G'day viewers, you may have seen news articles over the weekend about clashes that happened in the American city of Portland between extreme right-wing marchers and anti-fascist protesters. Let's just say it was the fascists versus the anti-fascists, basically. And it was always going to be contentious, but there's a video that's been circulated, and it's a fairly shocking one, of right-wing shitposter Andy Ngo. And by the way, Vietnamese people can stop laughing at my attempt at pronunciation there. But he got not just punched like Richard Spencer, he got beaten up. And on the bit of video I've seen, you would have trouble justifying the degree to which he was beaten up. And I do want to specify, based on the bit of video that has generally been seen, because we don't see what happened before it. And some people, almost all disingenuously, would say, oh, nothing could justify that. Really? Nothing? See, just for a bit of context, this dickhead, he insists on calling himself a journalist because he writes on a website. I think it's far more accurate to just call him a right-wing shitposter. He just regularly posts embarrassingly stupid and wrong shit, and regularly posts hideously bigoted and racist shit as well. And he's got this big umbrella, but I'm gay and Asian. It's like, no one's attacking you because you're gay and Asian. They're attacking you because you're fucking garbage. And yeah, what he may or may not have done to provoke anyone beforehand, at this point is completely unclear. I haven't heard any accounts of that. But he does have a history of doxing people, put together one article that resulted in violent neo-Nazi group with at least 5 murders associated with them, who like to call themselves Atomwaffen. They put up a kill list of journalists based on some shit that this prick published. So the idea that he could not possibly have done anything to justify it is a bit far-fetched. But I will go back. Based on the bit of video I've seen, I don't think you can justify the degree to which he was roughed up. And that is important. Like people say, when I say, no, actual Nazis deserve to be punched and whatnot. And people say, oh, who you do? In this context, without more information, I think what happened to him was wrong. He's absolute fucking garbage, but the degree that he was smacked about was wrong. I also want to bring in some extra stuff, because if you've seen the coverage, there's some pretty wild stuff being said. And the overwhelming majority of the antifa stuff that's being published, and you can shorten that, the two antis cancel each other out. So the fascist propaganda that's been put about by this extreme right-wing mob, including the Portland police, centers on a few things, like, because milkshakes are funny now, right? And earlier in the day, Andy Ngo tried to make a huge drama that some milk had been splashed on his bag, and that was violence. Bizarre, considering what happened later, that he was worried about a splash of milkshake. But an absolute lie that's been circulated by the Portland police and a lot of media outlets is that there was a tactic of putting quick-drying cement in the milkshakes to try and cause problems, and other completely false claims that there were, I'm trying to think of the right word, corrosive chemicals, chemicals added to the milkshake. Now, these are complete and utter lies. Nobody who's put them forward has produced one piece of corroborating evidence, and a lot of people have shown what happens if you mix milkshakes with cement. It goes into this grey mucky stuff, doesn't look anything like a milkshake, and all the milkshakes at the rally looked very much like milk. So that is a complete lie. And while, as I said, the way Andy Ngo got beaten was, until I know more, excessive, and he did end up in hospital, they started circulating a lie that he had a brain hemorrhage, that he was critical, that he'd been the victim of a chemical attack. These were all lies. And when you get this many lies around something, and also he immediately turned it into the typical right-wing griff of a GoFundMe, protect Andy Ngo. I don't know. Is the intent to use this money to have a time machine and go back and not get beaten up? I don't know. It's just the typical grift they go for. But when there's this many lies, I seriously start to question it. And given that the police, the right-wingers, and a lot of the media have been shamelessly repeating blatant lies, I feel justified in going somewhat into conspiracy theory. It's very hard to discuss this stuff without sounding a little bit like a conspiracy nut. But here are some known facts. I mentioned the group Atomwaffen. Some people doing hard work infiltrate their online groups and basically record the chats that happen to them, so you get to know what tactics they're planning. And an explicit discussed tactic multiple times in their internal chats has been, at a rally, dress up in black bloc gear so you look like you're with Antifa, and then deliberately start a fight, deliberately do violence to discredit the anti-fascist opponents. That is an actual deliberate policy that they have been known to discuss multiple times. And let's get real, when you look at the two sides, which side deliberately targets people based on race and sexuality? The Nazis. And so if you decided you were going to follow through on that tactic of someone on your team has to take one for the team, maybe top of the list would be someone who's Asian and gay. I'm just saying. Again, huge asterisk next to that. There is no evidence whatsoever that that's who punched Andy Ngo. Mind you, there's no conclusive evidence of who it was at all, and it's about 99% likely it would be impossible to conclusively prove who it was and what their motivation was. But yeah, this is the world we live in now. Something that kind of should be straightforward. It's like, well, you know, that side's fascist, that side's anti-fascist, but there's actual tactics of the fascists pretending to be the anti-fascist and deliberately doing stuff to discredit them. The police shamelessly repeating absolutely unsubstantiated stories about the milkshakes having quick-drying cement in them. It's just like, it's so hard to trust anything. I mean, you know, you get people worried about deep fakes. How will we trust anything? Yep, it's virtually impossible to trust anything now. But it's, I tell you what, there's only, of this argument, there's only one side whose core ideology is the eradication of people based on their race, ethnicity, sexuality. The other side is dedicated to stopping that. And anyone who says, oh, the extreme right and the extreme left are the same, is either stupid or part of the fucking problem. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you subscribed so you don't miss my next video, because I do a lot of them. Jump in with a comment on this video, or let me know what you'd like me to do in another video, and hit me up on the various social media as well. Your support means a lot, so if you tell other people about the videos, that is one of the most positive things you can do to support me. Just share the video with your friends, put it on your social media, and tell them they should subscribe and join in. Or remember this easy song. Subscribe to AngryAussie and share this with your friends.